One of the most commonly asked questions that we get is how exactly did we get this family permit? What documents did we supply with the application? And so today we'll try to answer this directly by pretending we actually make an application. So let's go ahead. So we will type in Google EEA Family Permit apply. And the first link that comes up is the gov.uk link. That's the one we are looking for. We will accept all cookies. Or we have to stare at this ugly message forever. And now what we need to do, make sure we are in the EEA Family Permit section. We need to scroll down where it says you must apply online, right here. Now select a country to provide your biometrics. Well, in our case, let's pretend we are a Polish Filipina couple, which we are. So let's go ahead and let's pretend my wife is in the Philippines, which in the situation she would be. So the biometrics will be taken in the Philippines. We select that. Now, you must check, well, I have checked available biometric locations. We all know it's in Manila, so that's great, because God knows what will happen if we select I am unable to travel to selected location. Lots of information here. We press apply now. Now let's type in an email address. I'm just using some old, sorry, that's the password. I'm just using some old email address that I have handy. I know I no longer actually use it, but I can still log into it and retrieve a password of some sort that we create. Save and continue. So the category. Interestingly, when we were applying earlier this year, this web page did not look exactly like this. There's more options now. In our case, I already had indefinite leave to remain when we were applying for the EEA Family Permit. So in this case, I would mark the first one, as I already have immigration status under the EU settlement scheme. However, let's say I didn't. Let's say I were in UK only a few years, or something like that. So I will just mark this family member of an EEA national. Good enough. I should still get it. Save and continue. Let's say this belongs to me. Answer no. Do we actually have to supply a number? Yes, we have to. Okay, let's enter something. Here I will add another phone number, because let's pretend I'm a Filipina, and let's pretend my husband is in UK, an EEA national, so I have another phone number, a Filipino one. Let's add it as well. I don't remember the phone codes, but let's pretend anything. This is only for testing purposes. No, we don't have any other phone numbers. I can be contacted by telephone. Yes, I can. Now let's enter a name. Now let's say my name is Catherine Bernardo. I don't have other family name, but let's say I had. Let's say because I married, I may have changed my family name. Let's enter Dominus, just a made up one. Oops, 1 second, did we do a mistake? Okay, so let's say I have a maiden name as well. Let's say not Dominos, but Burritos. So my Burritos was my maiden name. Let's say these are all my names. I'm a Filipino. Let's say I'm married. I'm putting married because really most people that asked us regarding family permit, they were all married. It is possible to get EEA Family Permit also as unmarried, but it's not so easy. You need to be a registered civil partnership, and you can only get that if you're together 2 years. So that's why we entered married. Now let's make up an address. Could be anything. High Street. Now this will be a Filipino address, so let's say it is Manila, or should I say Makati, for example, in Manila. I almost put Manila in here, but let's leave it as it is. Let's say the postcode is Philippines. Let's say yes, this is my address for correspondence. Here we must supply some passport number. Now this will be a made up one, so I hope they will accept it. This here, you would normally type the department that issued the passport. That's in the passport page, main page with the photo. Let's type in anything here. Let's say it was issued last year. Doesn't really matter. Do I have a valid identity card? Let's say no. Normally, if you had one, like my wife did have one, just answer yes, just enter the serial number of it in there. Country of nationality. We will enter Philippines. Same. Place of birth, same Manila. Date of birth, let's say. That's it. Do we have other nationality? No. Do I have a valid visa or residence card for an EEA country? Let's pretend this is for my wife, so no. Date you plan to arrive. Let's say I want visa now for February. So I would be arriving on 2nd February 2020. English. It wants me to add them separately, so let's say English. I'm sure it will be much more convenient for the immigration to speak in English. Your spouse, partner. Now this will be the sponsor, so myself in this case. No, so I'm the Polish citizen in my case in UK. Let's say my name is Janusz Gajos. Let's say I was born January. That's my actual birth date, year, country of nationality. Let's say Poland in this case, but again, it could be any European country though. No. Well, this would be the UK address. So let's say Lower Road, let's say in London. Why do you not live with your partner? Well, in our case, I remember we briefly explained that, well, we had no chance really to live together. This was the first visa we got for a long time, although we did add that we lived only during my wife's short visits here in the UK and my short visits in the Philippines. So we did not technically live together, but we have been living in the same accommodation for a while as tourists. I'm not sure that it actually counts as living with a partner. So that's what we entered into this box. Have you ever lived with your partner within or outside UK? I think you could answer no or yes to this question. It would probably have no bearing whatsoever on the outcome of this visa. It doesn't really matter if you lived with your partner or not when you apply for the family permit. Let's say no. Now we have to enter something. We only live together time visits tourist. Okay. This is pretty much literally what we wrote when we were applying. Are you currently married? Let's say yes, that was our case. Have you previously been married? In our case it was a no. Your case, your mileage may vary. Does anyone rely on you for financial support? And I remember we actually answered no, but again, if you said yes, they would just keep asking more questions about who it is that relies on you for financial support. Let's just say no. It would definitely matter if you include these dependents in your application though. If it's your child, sure. And actually, of course, you can include your child in this application. You would both apply. It is possible. It all depends on your case. Do you know where you will be staying in the UK? In our case, it was a yes. You probably won't be staying with your partner, with your husband. So let's enter, oh my lord, I forgot what code I entered there. It will probably not accept it. Yeah, it's not a valid postcode, is it? Okay, let's try manually. The home of a family member, friend. Yes, in our case it was my house, so her husband's. Should we say husband? We need the telephone number. Will you be staying anywhere else in the UK? Let's say no. Have you ever breached law and authority legally? Nope. Convictions? Nope. Honey, did you do something bad in the Philippines? Let's hope not. War crimes? Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Yes, not a terrorist. Nope. Person of good character. Nope, nope. Nope. I wonder what would happen if somebody actually answered yes here. This would not turn out well. Employment history, nope. Yeah, ever since 9/11, the security in immigration just was so tightened, both in US and UK and Australia and all the English-speaking countries. Who is the national sponsoring? Well, this would be the sponsor. In our case, it was a no, because Levi was traveling by herself. Is the sponsor in UK? Yes. Well, and here I entered the first date I came to UK. Let's pretend again it's 1st of January. If I remember correctly, that was 2014. Or rather 15, sorry. Because it's January. Provide details about how you keep in contact. Mainly contact over Facebook, Messenger, sometimes Skype. Or we could make it a bit more personal. Touch. There we go. More than enough. Now, of course, we will have to prove that later with printouts of those chats. Do I have a valid passport? Of course. Let's pretend it's Poland. Let's say it was issued 2017. I can provide a copy, of course. If we continue. Do I have a national identity card? Nope. I did not. I don't need one. What is the national insurance number? And here it would be good to actually state it. This will speed up the application a lot, because I'm sure they are pulling these records to see if you are working, if the sponsor is working, and it matters. It matters a lot. That qualifies you as someone actually exercising those treaty rights that this whole family permit is about. So let's enter here. Oh my god. Okay, let's say I don't have. This is only, normally I would put it in here, but let's just pretend I don't. Residence document confirming. In my case, I didn't. I have an implied right of residence as an EU national. So I don't actually need a document other than my passport. Oh my god. Is it necessary? Yes. Well, let's pretend one. I'm pretty sure there's no validation on this number. But that will be a yes. And as you can see, it's a question after question after questions. Basically, you go all the way from one section to another. At any point, you can press this, return to this application later, and just pause it, sort of. This will send a link to continue this application to your email, the one you entered at the very beginning. There's lots of these questions. Just like on the tourist visa, probably 100 questions. Let's say we met 2 years ago. Let's say Philippines. Let's say the relationship began the very next day. That's kind of romantic. Well, how often do you see, as in meet physically? Well, that could be 3 times a year. In most cases, probably two times a year, or once a year. Although it should be at least once a year, otherwise the whole relationship might not seem valid in the immigration's eyes. I mean, the sponsor should be able to afford at least one trip in a year, at worst. Let's say we last saw each other a few months back. Let's say it's 10th of the 10th, 2019. When did you marry with your current partner? Let's enter something. Let's say it was first this year. Let's say it was in Manila, Philippines. Let's say it was church maybe. Did we both attend? Yes. And I think you have to answer yes to this question. Was this an arranged marriage? Of course not. Make sure you answer no, or you'll be in trouble. So here you can check your answers, make sure there's no errors. Now, the evidence. The mandatory documents are the passport for my Filipina wife. So we will have this. Proof of relationship. In this case, it will be the marriage certificate with the Apostile, and photos, and copy of chats. Give them anything you have, everything. Everything you can supply. We did have lots of documents left over from tourist visa applications. This comes very handy. Also, the marriage ceremony, you will have a copy of birth certificate from there. I hope you do. Proof of sponsor's identity, that would be a copy of the passport. And just a xerox copy of the passport will do. You don't actually need to certify it anywhere. I didn't, and it still went through. Evidence that the sponsor is a qualified person, that would be the pay slips. Again, evidence proving their relationships. Copy of chats, copy of emails. Photographs especially, they are the most important part. If the spouse is a member of the sponsor's household, well, in our case she was not, so we left that empty. You must take your original passport to the appointment, of course. You will actually leave it there at the appointment. You probably know that already. Let's save and continue. Oh, did it actually complain? Oh, that's okay. It just wants me to confirm that I actually read it. That's fine. Now declaration. I confirm that I'm aged 18 or over. Because this is an EEA Family Permit, it's free. There is no payment, so in the pay section, you literally just press save and continue. And here you would click Save and continue to Final Task to actually finalize this application. And that's it, folks.